time to do a longer format video about these demo boards. Kind of wanted to talk about what they do, what they are, the feature parity between them, and maybe talk a little bit as well about federal tone modules. So, you know, the original tone modules that they were making were basically analog tone modules. And I mean, given my other hobbies, analog synths, there's no sort of coincidence, I feel like, that this is interesting to me. Um, they also did stuff like this, which is almost just to turn it into a speaker. You could turn it into a transformer speaker or whatever else. Now, that was meant more for these later ones that basically had the amplifier for a tone module. So as you see, this is I think it's a 50GC is the name of the speaker, but this just takes the tone module in the back here. So that's how that works. And then, yeah, I mean, these basically just played a signal and repeated it, played a tone and repeated it. And that's it. And so when I got this demo case, I didn't really know what I was in for. I knew it was cool, but I didn't know what it was doing inside. No one did, really. I think a few people thought maybe it just had a UTM inside of it and they brought the switches out to the front. But that's not what they did. Basically had a backplane in it, just built with point-to-point wiring. Not even a circuit board like the actual Directone panel on the auto call CDNA and stuff like that. That actually had like a circuit board. Well, what did I build? I built more of a circuit board, actually. So if you go back here and look at what I made, pull these out. It's a breadboard, but it is basically a little backplane almost for these modules. And so what that allows me to do is, first of all, easily plug them in. And I purposely kind of put them so that they're close to where the back box is, and that's so that you can't put them in the wrong way. So, yeah, little tricks like that just to save you big problems, right? Yeah, that's one part of it. The other part of it is there's an amplifier. So, when I took this thing apart, what I realized is that it's a few things inside of it. It was 3 tone modules. It was an amplifier. And I later figured out that that's probably the amplifier that came from one of the select tone horns, probably like a 300 or one of those. There's various revisions of it, and they basically just had a little, it almost kind of looked like this, where it has the female jack that it goes into. The only difference is it had like a metal shroud around it. And, I was able to sort of identify with some research that probably came from one of the horns that had a little box off of it and had a little amplifier in it. And so that's probably what they did. It's probably one of the older ones, maybe one of the originals of that series. They took that. They basically modified it into essentially a speaker driver for 2 of these older Directone horns. And basically they took the transformers off them because having to also bump it with the transformer would be a lot. Let's talk about feature parity real quick. So the way this one works, so you can turn off either speaker or turn them on individually, or you can go all call, turns them both on. You also have the microphone. Testing 1, 2. Now, without the thing being on loud, it's hard to hear the mic. You really do have to crank it to hear the microphone. But it also helps if this is on. Hello, hello. So yeah, you really have to crank it to hear the microphone usually. Yeah, the microphone it has a relay in there, and so when you push the button on the microphone, it's cutting off the tone generators and putting in the microphone. So pretty simple. And so what do we have over here? We have 3 tone generators. We have an amplifier. Oh, the other thing in here is there's a microphone, like transformer board, which I think was probably also from something, possibly from one of the panels that had like a microphone handset. Anyway, I have the amplifier here. I have an on-off switch. Now on here, these override each other in this order. So basically this is highest order and then it goes down. Here, I did it a little different. This is the 3-way switch. So when it's on, you can just directly select. This one's just very low. It's a gradual horn. It like gets lower and louder. So you just could select which one, left, middle, or right. And so the other cool thing about this, which this does not have, is because this has coding options from the Deuce MC, I decided to give myself the ability to code the horn, the audio basically. So there's a few things going on here. One thing going on, actually, let's just turn it back on real quick. Do a slower mode here. Actually, have the strobe going now. So a couple things going on here. This, when you flip it on, you'll notice, well, when the amplifier's on, because if it's off, this doesn't do anything. But when it's on, what that does is there's using this relay here to flip between either just turning on the audio or actually pulsing the audio, basically just following the relay with the Deuce MC. So it's just switching between straight up powering it with basically the power from when the pool is pulled, or using the Deuce MC sync to actually trigger the relay. So you can see this relay is either going to follow, or when this is off, it's steady. And this relay on the end here, you can see is just controlling whether that's connected or not. Now, technically, I could have just used a switch to do that, but it was nice and easy to do this. Keeps all the signaling short, and I didn't have an on-on switch, which is what I would have needed to do that, and I did have a relay, which had what I needed. So this worked. And it made use of all 7 relays plus these new 2 relays here, which I also want to talk about. So what are these? These are actually high sensitivity relays from, I believe, Elk. I think they are the 924. And I'm a big fan of Elk, big fan of Eltronics. Anyway, these relays are rated for, I believe, 7 amp DC and I think up to 10 amp AC possibly. So that's much higher rating than the relays on this thing. Now, if you look at how they built it, they actually use single relays, and they call it a dual pole, but they use individual relays to get that higher rating, I think. And it's interesting, but basically what I did is I switched the NAC circuits to these. What that means is that I can now do high power AC horns directly with this thing, and it shouldn't blow anything up like I had in the past. So that is really cool, and that means there's going to be some really interesting videos coming soon where I've got high power AC horns directly attached to this thing with just the power supply for them plugged in, right here in the auxiliary power. This is just testing stuff right there, but Yeah, so these are the auxiliary power, and when these are down, that uses the auxiliary power. When these are in the middle, it turns them off, and when they're up, it uses the power from the input, which is this. Now, another new addition to this, you can't really see it, but the only thing you can really notice is there's some extra wires that go in and out here. And so what has happened here is that there's actually a boost buck power supply. It's actually the same power supply that's in here, but it's a dedicated one just to run 12 volts on this board. And what that allowed me to do is actually to use these as well as to add this audio amp, because now all of a sudden I have a problem of needing only 12 volts for certain things. And this relay is nice because it supports 12 to 24 volts, and I was getting away with a lot of murder with that before, but I can't do that anymore because now I need 12 volts only for this, I need 12 volts only for these, so I can't cheat anymore with this type of relay. I have to have something that is, a specific relay, like, and these lower, even though they're only 12 volts, or they can be 24 volts if you cut a trace thing there, they support much higher amperage. So, there's benefits and disadvantages to everything. So, needless to say, this has opened up a lot of interesting possibilities. One last thing you might notice, these insulated sort of they're coaxial cable. It's an audio cable, basically. I tried to use proper audio cable. These cables, the two relays are obviously the ones that switch it on and off for the two NACs. But notice there's one in the middle. You might ask, what's that doing? Right now, nothing. But you'll notice there is a input on the top there for the, for when it's switched. And what will that be? That will be for the microphone. Yes. So feature parity is what we were talking about here. What will these things have comparatively? They're both going to have two NACs. They're both going to have voice. This is additionally going to have built-in DC, the ability to take AC externally through the external inputs. It can also now pulse the audio to match the code. So at present, the only thing this has that this doesn't has is the microphone. But other than that, I think we've reached feature parity or close to it. Now, I guess you could say I didn't do individual switches, but I mean, I think that's arguably a feature. So you could also just say they didn't have a three-way switch when they built this thing. So, hey, it really is here nor there, I think, for that one. I really don't care that much. What else? This is also basically battery powered right now. My battery unit is on the charger, but I can unplug it and it'll be completely battery powered. If I unplug this right here, we are now running on battery. And I think the volume, yeah, there you go, battery powered completely. So honestly, I bet AutoCall wish they had thought of something like that with this, because had they been able to make that battery powered, it probably would have been a much better demo board. And that's probably an idea I could even think about implementing, which would be to ditch the input transformer, maybe swap this for just a DC barrel jack, and maybe just convert it to 24 volts or something like that, because I'm pretty sure the only thing I have to check is the whether that microphone transformer needs some kind of funky voltage. I think it might. So that might be the only gotcha there. I think they might have used something basically from an alarm panel. A fire alarm panel is probably, people are saying that this is probably was to demo a CDNA. And so if it was possibly a board from a CDNA that they used for the microphone, just because they had it, it's not like it made sense to, but they just had it, so they did it. So, hey, whatever. For this, we'll see what I figure out for the microphone situation. I'll probably need some kind of microphone preamp. Hey, if I can find an old AutoCall one or whatever federal one, maybe I will. But I suspect more than likely it'll probably just be something off Amazon. I do have an interesting microphone coming. Not sure if it'll be permanent on this or not. I am definitely running out of space on where I'm going to put things. So, yeah, that's going to be interesting. But I'm actually thinking maybe on my little back box here, maybe I'll use this thing here and put some kind of connector there for the microphone. Maybe just a 1/4 inch jack. Just managed to come up with a way to adapt that onto a conduit. 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch conduit. I don't know, making shit up. But anyway, yeah, it's been really fun sort of learning about this demo board here, the autocall, and then sort of coming up with my own implementation of a tone generator, tone player, whatever, Directone system with my demo board. So my demo board now can do that. One additional thing I'd like to add is an audio input jack. So I'll try to do a switched jack so that when I input, when I plug in that jack, that it overrides the built-in tone generator and yeah, that kind of thing. So that will be next probably. Not as high of a priority because I think the microphone will be to get feature parity, and then from there, any additional stuff is just kind of a bonus. The other funny thing is technically, this could be the audio input, right? This is meant for, I think, to actually reduce from a speaker. So I think it has like I don't know, like a resistor or something in there. But technically, I could use this, maybe modify it, and make this just an audio input. Because why not? It's all it really is. It's pretty much empty in here. You can tell this very empty board. So that might be the way to go too. That's really kind of neat and easy. And then when I need to play external audio, you just plug that in. And so, yeah, got options. Been a few other things that have happened since last video, long form. But as you can see, I do have this cool, really cool 465B, which is both dual pole and key switch. And of course, I don't have it on right now, but got a few other things here or there, but slowed down a little bit. I've more just been upgrading the board and just kind of playing with stuff. So, yeah, it's been really fun. Until next time, everyone.